All right.
We're good?
Yep.
Can everybody please stand for the flag salute? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. In accordance with the Open Public Meetings Act, adequate notification of this meeting has been provided by advertising in the record and posting notice of this meeting in Borough Hall and the Superintendent's office. I hereby call to order the public meeting of the Little Ferry Board of Education, Thursday, August 15, 2024 at 7:02 p.m. Can I have a roll call, please?
Mr. Bertoli, Mrs. Patel, Mr. Fytros, Mrs. Gottlieb,
Here.
Mr. Mealy,
Here.
Mr. Lasuzo,
Here.
Mr. Borisek,
Here.
Mr. Benelli,
Here.
Mrs. Bradley.
Here.
We have a quorum.
Be it resolved that the Little Ferry Board of Education approves the minutes of the regular public meeting held on July 18, 2024. Do I have a motion? Motion.
Okay, Mrs. Bertoli, absent. Mrs. Patel,
Absent. I was absent then.
so you abstain. Mr.
Abstain.
Fytros, absent. Mrs. Gottlieb,
Yes.
Mr. Mealy,
I was absent.
Mr. Lasuzo,
Yes.
Mr. Borisek,
Yes.
Mr. Benelli,
Yes.
Mrs. Bradley.
Yes. We'll now open it up to Mr. Carapato to provide a superintendent's report.
I'm going to defer my report today. Ms. Dunn, are you going to start? Okay, with the ELL test results.
I'm going to give my report on the Access for Ls. So Access stands for Assessing Comprehension and Communication in English State to State. So it's a state-to-state comparison of our tests.
Excuse me, sir, are you able to move that a little?
On wheels.
It's all the muscles.
Make that, we can make a note of that in the minutes.
Start at 7:04. So assessing and comprehension and communication in English state to state. So it's a nationally normed assessment focusing on 4 domains: speaking, listening, reading, and writing. There are 6 possible levels that students can get, from level 1 entering all the way to level 6 reaching, with 4.5 being the magic passing number or passing score. And that's at the expanding level of their language acquisition of English. So what I'm going to go through is going to be 3 parts: our findings, what are our glows and grows based on the data. I'm going to give the aggregated and disaggregated data, and then talk about our intervention strategies moving forward. So glows, what went well? We had a huge improvement in the amount of students passed. So anytime there's a number less than 10, I can't give you the exact number. So it is a number less than 10, and the year before was a number less than 10, but it was a substantial increase from year to year of students passed. This is a huge swing in the right direction, and we're really excited with that. There was also a substantial number of students who were in the 4s, which is right on the cusp of passing. Another great thing that we just finished yesterday actually was more sheltered English instruction training, which is for our general education teachers to be equipped with more tools to be able to support our growing multilingual learner students in the general classroom. So it's over the course of 3 days. It's a 15-hour professional development. It's through Stockton University, which is approved by the Department of Ed. And it was run by 2 of our ESL teachers, Melissa Telezola and Kristen Kajiwara. We trained 14 teachers across grades K through 8, which means that at every grade level, there is at least 1 teacher trained in this, which will help support our students day to day. We also have special area teachers who are trained as well. We're now at just over 25% of our staff is trained in this method. All right, win periods was another blow. In lieu of pulling our students out and missing reading or missing science, we've been utilizing the win periods as our intervention for all to be able to pull students for their pull-out ESL services so that it's supplementing and not supplanting their instruction. This provides them just continued more exposure, and during the win period, that's when everyone gets pulled. So if you're receiving any interventions or basic skills instruction in ELA or in math, you would be pulled, as well as on the other end of the spectrum, if you're gifted, that's when you get pulled. So you're not missing any of that classroom instruction. What are our growths? Our Reading domain has been the grow for the past couple of years. It is the last domain that English language learners do master, but that is what we've been focusing on and will continue to focus on increasing. Speaking is another domain that we would like to see increase. It took a slight dip of about a half of a tenth of a point, but that's one of the second skills that starts to come along, so we want to see that grow as well. Our other ambitious goal is by 2026 to have all of our staff trained in sheltered English instruction, and that's because our MLL population continues to grow. We average at about 10% of our population, so we want to be able to service all of those. And we also want to find time for collaboration between the ESL department and the general education teachers. All right, our data, how do we do? So our highest domains were in listening, which was a 3.6 overall for the district average, which is below the passing rate, but that's of all 70 of the students who took the assessment, and it was higher than years past. Our most improved domain was reading, which is great to see that the reading is going up because that's a skill that you're using all day, every day, all your classes. And the most growth was in that grade 4. That's important because it was one of our largest groups, and it's also a group that's been with us, the majority of them, for 2 years. And that's usually when you start to see the biggest amount of growth. Some of the data findings, this is an important fact. We had 18 new multilingual learners come into our district last year. 17 of those students were newcomers to the United States. It means it was their first time in the country. And for the majority of them, their first exposure to the English language. 10 of those students arrived halfway through the year, so January, or as late as March. So some of them walked in, were identified as an ESL student, and we gave them the assessment. So they're not going to perform very well because they've had no time to be taught, but we have to provide them with that. But that's just something important to note. And then we've seen that trend continue year to year. In Central and Southern and South America, the school year ends in January. So families will transition to the United States often coming in February or March. We had 100% participation rate across the district. This is a breakdown by the domain from a level 1 to a level 3 at both Washington and Memorial. We had the majority of our new students to the country were in middle school in the 5 through 8. So you'll notice that there was a higher percentage of students at the entering level, just beginning to get that English acquisition of the language. Whereas you see it starting to grow a little bit more in Washington school. We did have some real nice grows. Some of our students who have been with us, we're at that level 5 or even above like a 5.5, which is great because that gets them beyond. Graphics for you. Average score by domain, as I said, listening was the highest one overall. Reading was our lowest, and speaking took a little bit of a dip. Huge improvement in reading to almost 3, so that was really good to see. Our percentages by subgroups, the N denotes that it's a group less than 10. 19% of our multilingual learners are white, 17% Asian, 69% Hispanic. Of that total population, 43% are economically disadvantaged, and less than 10 qualify for special education. This is a graphic of our overall scores from 2022 to this current year, and it goes by district, Washington, and Memorial School. In 2022, Memorial School had a really nice group. It was a group who had been here for 3 to 4 years, and they really, on their way out, really shined on their way out. It's great to see. It was a large group of 8th graders that performed really well that last year. Took a little bit of a dip last year, but it's nice to see. It's tough to see, but it is sloping up overall at the district level, and that's what we like to see, the graphs going up. This is proficiency level comparison scores. So where we're at in 2023 to 2024, and you see the dips in the good places in our 1s and our 2s, nice big dips, and that growth up in the 3s and 4s and even some into the 5s. So our kids are trending upward and are learning more year to year. And finally, based on all this data, what are our intervention strategies going to be? We are going to, that goal of by 2026, training all of our teachers. Collaboration time will be happening on Wednesdays, at least once a month. and as well as during team times so that the teachers can collaborate with ESL. We're going to use data to drive instruction. It's going to be one of our district goals as well. And then we've really pushed two great resources, the principles of sheltered English instruction and our elevation platform, which gives our teachers knowledge of what students can do and what their next steps are. Very similar to how you would accommodate for a student with an IEP. It provides the same basic knowledge for our staff. And that is in my presentation. Just have like a little call to action that we want to continue to intensify our commitment to targeted data-driven instruction, using this data to move forward and ensure that not only every student meets their English acquisition requirements, but exceeds. Any questions?
Excellent.
Did you ever analyze by what language they know coming in, Spanish versus Korean versus whatever? Besides, do you find that makes any difference in working through the testing and the ESL?
The base language generally doesn't. It depends on if they've had exposure to English in their home country. So in some countries, English is considered more of a second language within that country, and they have more exposure to it. So yes, in some of the Asian cultures, they have more exposure to English, so they come with a little bit stronger skills. We also see that in a lot of the European countries. Students coming from any European country, they've had more exposure to English, so that they generally make their progression quicker. Central and South America, there's less exposure, so it's a more difficult transition as they start to learn English, as well as often some of our Southeast Asian students, some of whom are coming across all of our MLLs with interrupted education, meaning that they've gone 6 months to a year without formal education during the course of their travel into the United States.
Thank you, Mr. Dunn.
Thank you.
Next, to continue my report, I'm gonna have Ms. Pager, first year, this was our first year for the real true preschool expansion. They go through a preschool quality study, to the Beckers that Ms. Pager will explain in it. We got results back this year, and when I saw them, I said to Ms. Pager, this is something we should be proud of, and it's something that I would like her to share with the board, because this is an accomplishment. So, Ms. Pager, the floor is yours.
Okay, thank you. And I have to thank Jen Hacker. She's not here, but she also helped out with this part. Okay, just a little background. In May 2024, 2 of our district classrooms and 3 of the classrooms over at our provider early learners were rated using the scale Mr. Kirkhoff just described, the Eckers 3 scale, by a training facilitator on behalf of Rutgers University. The part of the study was conducted by NEAR, which is the National Institute for Early Education Research, to assess the quality of all the state-funded preschool classrooms in New Jersey that received the grant last year. So these are all the first-year programs that had the grant. They actually did 187 classrooms, so our 5 are part of that 100. So the purpose of the study was just to assess first-year programs and to evaluate how they're doing so far. So the trained data collector came, she observed the classrooms across the state. Observations occurred during the first 3 hours of the program schedule with at least 1 meal observed. So if something happened in the afternoon and she didn't see it, you don't get credit for it. So we tried to pack it in. We did know what day they were coming, but we didn't know which classrooms they. So we definitely made sure to try to hit everything, but it's impossible to do everything in 3 hours. At some points you just will never get. And as I said, 187 classrooms, and there were 8, all the core 8 districts. The table on the next slide presents the mean, standard deviation, and the ranges for all 6 of the Ecker subscales. To assist with the interpretation of the scores, they follow a traffic light framework, with green scores being above the suggested quality, yellow are the average scores, and red are the below. So here's a little various findings. So when we first got on the call, they said, you're gonna have some red, you're gonna have some yellow, and you'll be lucky if you have a green. They said, if you have no red, you're really ahead of the game. So that was really great news. We were really excited. We were one of the few districts to have no red. So that was exciting. So they said some districts, if you're lucky, you have the green. We had 1 green, so we're really excited with that. But starting at 4.99, you start green. So we're very close here and there. So excited about those results.
So our strengths, so overall in core 8, the 6 subscales, they scored the highest. Reveal was the strength of our preschool program. The interaction score was the highest, that was our green score. Specifically, the staff-child interaction and the individualized teaching and learning exceeded the good scale. So the interaction for Little Ferry classrooms was our highest score, and it focused on supervision of gross motor activities, individualized teaching and learning, staff-child interaction, peer interaction, and discipline. Our areas for improvement. Our specific areas of improvement will focus on the duration and availability of materials in the classrooms for the students to use it throughout the course of the day. Eckers is very specific in the duration of the activity and the needs for the students who have it. So, especially at early learners at our provider, we started with bare bones nothing. We bought everything, including the furniture this year. So if they only had 5 math activities and you're supposed to have 7, then you get down to like a small point there. So we've already ordered everything to make sure we have enough manipulatives for all categories for next year. Personal care routines will be another focus in our protocols. We'll review and implement it. Eckers requires very specific methods and procedures for implementing and seeing during those observations. So again, if they didn't see them wash their hands before lunch or wash their hands before snack, you don't get points for it. So it's kind of what they see, especially the toileting and diapering. The last are actually thing we did the worst on was gross motor play, which is the playground. The space for a gross motor play has already been established. We already built our brand new beautiful playground outside. So they're very excited about that. So that will automatically change our score. And they said we would have been far in the green if we hadn't appropriate preschool. So we know we're already ahead of the game for next year. And then our action plan. We're going to share this data with the teachers during the first few weeks of school, just let them know how great they are. Just so you know, there are 7 preschool teachers. Only 2 of them were prior preschool teachers. So we had 5 new staff in the first. So I'm really excited for next year that they all have a year under their belt. Also, so this was like really exciting for this kind of data. So we'll be able to focus on those areas and with professional development and professional development for supporting the Eckers. We already have an Eckers expert coming in for a full day PD, one of the first days of school before the school year even starts, just to get the teachers to really understand the Eckers scale and how those evaluators come in and evaluate them. And then just continue professional development throughout the year to make sure they know the best practices, considering a lot of our teachers are new, and our preschool as well, and it's quite of reaching a really great overall rating. And that's it.
Appreciate you sharing.
Yes, thank you very much.
To the person.
That concludes our report.
Thank you, Mr. Dunn. Teacher, it's very positive. Mr. Gomez, would you like to provide a?
Well, don't have much. Most of it came out in the newsletter with the building. The building will be ready on time. We're still working on the locks. They're being installed. They'll be getting programmed all the cards. The only thing is with the financials, we're caught up. We're doing both June and July. So just so everybody knows, it is impossible to close June in July. Because you have to have all the bills in. So that's why. So our streak is still alive. We closed July, 5 days into August. So, yeah.
Great, thank you, Mr. Gomez. I don't believe we had many committee meetings, but I'll open it up to Ms. Villasuso. Do you have anything for education?
No, Mr. Dunn covers everything.
Great.
All right.
Mr. Benelli for finance?
We didn't have a meeting.
Mr. Mealy for policy?
Sorry,
Mrs. Patel for transportation?
We didn't have a meeting, but I think we have an update. I think today, the school was supposed to receive the transportation contract.
We were supposed to receive the bids yet. I still haven't received an email from them yet, but it's not atypical not to receive them yet. They could come in before midnight.
Okay, and then the second update is that we have a joint school bus that's going to be provided for Applied Tech, Paramus Tech, and Paramus Catholic.
We have those routes covered. It is for this to, for lack of a better term, the balls in virtual bar sport. So we have a plan, and with or without them, we are prepared to take on those routes. It'll be more financially responsible if we can, for both districts, if they are.
If you were to,
Yeah, no problem.
yeah, Okay, great.
But we are still also sharing on the agenda is with the yoga as well,
Yes.
for the
yes.
emergency services.
That's okay. That was my third item. so.
Yep.
Awesome.
Great, thank you, Mrs. Town. For expansion, we don't have an update this month, but we'll be providing a robust, update in September meeting. Mr. Borisek for Borough Liaison and Mrs. Gottlieb for NJSBA.
Not really, I haven't really seen much come across.
Great, so we'll open it up for public comment on agenda items. Nothing, Christie? All right, let's see, we'll now take a block vote on F31, DO 120, P86, C9, FA9, and PO5. Do I have a motion? Second?
Second.
Mr. Bertoli is absent. Mrs. Patel,
Yes.
Mr. Pietrus is absent. Mrs. Gottlieb, Mr. Mealy,
Yes.
Ms. Villalsuzo,
Yes.
Mr. Borisek,
Yes.
Mr. Brunelli,
Yes.
Mrs. Bradley.
Yes.
All motions passed.
Thank you. All right, we'll open up for public comment on non-agenda items. Christie? All right. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
Motion.
Second?
Second. Can I do it twice?
All right, great. I don't see. Slide. Your signature was on it, but let me know if I have a sign.